Good morning. My name is Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. Happy Monday. Today, I want to talk about the housing market. We've done about 6 months ago, I started to ask myself why houses were so expensive. Why are so many folks, many people that I know that make $100,000 a year, 6 figures, dual income families, why are they having such difficulty affording a home in America? And as I've talked about here before, we know that housing prices have doubled in the past 10 years. They really started to march up in 2014 greatly, and then they, of course, marched up during COVID. And we know that incomes have only increased 13.8%. So housing prices have jumped 100%. Incomes have increased only 13.8%. What I was surprised to find out is that right now we have the biggest housing bubble in U.S. history. This housing bubble is 23% bigger than the one that caused the Great Recession in 2008, 2009. Really blew out our financial system. And we know that because in the stock market, you have PE ratios, the price to earnings ratio, which tells you the price of a stock in relation to the earnings of the company over the prior 12 months. On the housing market, we have the PI ratio, which tells you the price of homes, the average price of homes, in relation to the average income in America. Now, for the past 50 years, since records have been kept in a modern, meaningful sense of the word, the price to income ratio for houses in the US was 3.4. And that's fine, meaning that the average house cost about 3.4 times someone's annual income. Now, during the 2009, the housing crisis, the Great Recession, houses got to a then historic high of 4.7 times income, meaning that houses were 4.7 times more expensive than the average income in America. Today, we know that housing is at 5.8 times average income, meaning houses are 5.8 more expensive than the average income in America. That is 23% bigger. A bubble that is 23% bigger than the one that caused the Great Recession. Now, nobody's really talking about this, okay? Nobody's talking about this, certainly not in an election year when there is just massive amounts of stimulus being pumped into the economy, fiscal stimulus from the Biden administration. Basically, we have an economy that has performance-enhancing drugs of massive fiscal stimulus. We have never before seen this kind of fiscal stimulus in the history of America, not during peacetime. The last time we saw fiscal stimulus this big as a percentage of GDP was during World War II. So we are spending money right now like we were during World War II. And you remember, during the Great Depression, there is no policy FDR and the government could do to take us out of the Great Depression. What actually got us out of the Great Depression was spending on the military, on warfare. So we are now spending an amount that is on aggregate with the amount we spent during World War II to take us out of the Great Recession. It is mind-boggling to me. It is almost too much to comprehend. But we all know, we're all old enough to know that when you go on a bender for 3 days, you wake up with a terrible hangover. You might be able to get over day 1, day 2, day 3, but when that music stops, you will be left without a chair. This kind of spending is not sustainable. We have created now the biggest bubble in housing in U.S. history. Now, this bubble, what's the nature of it? It's gotten so bad that both presidential candidates are talking about it on the campaign trail. They're actually starting to frame it as, we need more houses, we need more houses, we need more houses, because they don't have to talk about it anymore. They understand how bad this is. And what are they going to say? This is a housing bubble, and that'll just create panic. So nobody's in the business of trying to create financial panics. They're going to try to figure out another way around it, which is what they're going to try to do. Both candidates have done this. So we find ourselves in a situation that is very much like 2007. When the Fed started to lower rates during the last bubble in 2007, The market did great for 6 months. It started cutting in September, but it took until April of the following year where the market really started to crack. And of course, we know the market went down 50% during the rest of 2008. So basically, it took about 6 months for the euphoria and the crazy after the Fed was cutting rates in 2007. Remember, the Fed started cutting rates in 2007, and the market did fine for months, and then it just started to get hammered. We might be in a very similar situation, and we remember how painful that was. I have friends who saw their retirement plan set back 5 years. I have a couple of elderly friends that are still working at the local grocery store because the Great Recession wrecked their retirement plans so much. So we've put out this new documentary for you to really break this story for the first time, tell you how you can protect yourself from the housing side of this, and 3 steps you should be looking at right now to hedge yourself and protect you, your family, and your retirement. That's all I have on this Monday. Have a wonderful day.